This video is about cellular respiration or aerobic respiration. It involves glucose combining with oxygen. Oxygen is necessary. The organelle in which this process occurs is the mitochondrion. We'll be looking at the structure of the mitochondrion. Firstly, the outer membrane of the mitochondria is a double membrane structure. Then there's the inner membrane where oxidative phosphorylation occurs, the last stage. This inner membrane is folded to increase the surface area. It's called the crystal. And then you have the matrix, which is the space within the mitochondria where the link reaction and the Krebs cycle take place. And finally, the most important part in terms of regeneration is the DNA with its ribosomes. Let's look at aerobic respiration and the stages that are involved. The first stage is glycolysis. The glycolysis usually is a breakdown of glucose to pyruvate, and as a result, it occurs in the cytoplasm only. This glycolysis is followed by the link reaction, which occurs in the matrix of the mitochondrion. The Krebs cycle, which follows the link reaction, is also occurring in the matrix of the mitochondrion. And the final stage, which occurs in the inner membrane, is called oxidative phosphorylation. Here is where most of the ATP is produced, and as a result, aerobic respiration produces lots more ATP. Let's look at the first stage, which is glycolysis, breaking down of glucose to pyruvate. It begins with glucose being phosphorylated, a process of phosphorylation where ATP provides the phosphate group for to combine with glucose and activate this to form a hexose phosphate group. This hexose phosphate group accepts another phosphate group from ATP through phosphorylation to form hexose bisphosphate. It's a six carbon compound but with two ATP groups attached to energize it, to activate it, to raise its level. As a result of this activated bisphosphate, hexose bisphosphate, it splits into two compounds equally the same, two triose phosphate. This triose phosphate then will be oxidized in that it releases hydrogen, and the hydrogen is used to produce reduced NAD. In addition, four ATP molecules are produced at this stage. The triose phosphate, as a result of oxidation, is now transformed into two pyruvate molecules, each with three carbon each. So, products of glycolysis are two reduced NAD, two pyruvate molecules, and the net gain of two ATP because four ATP were produced, but two ATP was used up in the earlier reaction. Next was the link reaction. The link reaction begins with the pyruvate that was formed from the glycolysis stage. This pyruvate is a three carbon compound, but it is converted into acetate, which is a two carbon compound. Why? Because it loses one carbon to form carbon dioxide. This reaction is called a decarboxylation reaction. But also it loses one, a hydrogen, and this hydrogen helps to produce reduced NAD. This reaction is called dehydrogenation. The acetate can further react with coenzyme A, and this coenzyme A helps to convert the acetate into acetyl CoA. As a result, the products of the link reaction that occur in the matrix of the mitochondria are carbon dioxide being produced as a result of the decarboxylation, reduced NAD and acetyl coenzyme A. The next stage was the Krebs cycle, where the acetyl coenzyme A enters the Krebs cycle, changes from 4 carbon to 6 carbon to 5 carbon, and it goes in a cycle like that. So it begins with the acetyl coenzyme A coming from the link reaction. It enters the Krebs cycle and allows the acetyl, which is a 2 carbon compound, to combine with the 4 carbon compound already present in the Krebs cycle. This compound is called oxaloacetate. The coenzyme A is released and returns to the link cycle to continue its process. As a result, 6 carbon compound is formed. This 6 carbon compound is called citric acid or citrate. This 6 carbon compound loses 1 carbon by the process of decarboxylation to form carbon dioxide, but it also gives up hydrogen, and the hydrogen helps to form reduced NAD. As a result, the 6 carbon compound losing that 1 carbon is converted to a 5 carbon compound, and that 5 carbon compound will change, we convert it to a 4 carbon compound, as a result releasing several products. One is one reduced FAD because of one hydrogen being released, one ATP molecule, and this is substrate level phosphorylation, different to the electron transport chain. Two reduced NAD, as a result, they capturing two hydrogen coming off and releasing carbon as well, forming carbon dioxide as a result. Therefore, the 5C carbon compound changes into a 4C, and then the cycle continues again. So the product of the Krebs cycle are as follows: 3 reduced NAD produced, 1 reduced FAD, 1 ATP as a result of oxidative substrate level phosphorylation, and carbon dioxide molecule. So as a consequence, this video has covered the 3 stages of the cellular respiration or aerobic respiration. This diagram shows you all the stages. But in this video, we have covered glycolysis, which occurs in the cytoplasm and produces reduced NAD, 2 ATP, and 2 pyruvate. Then we looked at the link reaction, which occurred in the matrix of the mitochondrion, producing carbon dioxide, reduced NAD, and acetyl CoA. And then the next stage of this video, of this cycle, Krebs cycle, which was the stage that we looked at, occurred in the matrix as well. 3 reduced NAD, 1 reduced FAD, 1 ATP as a result of substrate level phosphorylation, and carbon dioxide. The final stage is oxidative phosphorylation, of which will be covered in the next video.